श्री राधा गिरधारी देवजी सुभद्रा महारानी divine Rachel Prabhupada, Jai Gaur Jnana Timaram Dasya Jnanam Chakshurudhamena Tasmai Shri Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Padamayam Yadati Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Sagrajat Sekanarakatha Sajiva Savadita Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Sayaganalita Shri Vishaka Krishna Dinavan Jagatpate Shri Gopika Radha Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindaveshwari Vishwana Sute Devi Pranamami Vascha Kalpatascha Vasindhya Patitanam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Shivasadi Gaurava Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavati Ayam Hare Krishna, everyone. Page 2. First of all, we'll read from chapter Prabhupada Lilamrita. The title of this chapter is A Resident of Vrindavan. One night, Abhay had a striking dream, the same dream he had had several times before during his days as a household. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati appeared, just as Abhay had known him, the tall, scholarly sannyasi, coming directly from the spiritual world, from Krishna's personal entourage. He called to Abhay and indicated that he should follow, Repeatedly, he called and motioned. He was asking Abhay to take sannyas. Come, he urged, become a sannyasi. Abhay awoke in a state of wonder. He thought of this instruction as another feature of the original instruction Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had given him at their first meeting in Calcutta. The same instruction that his spiritual master had later solidified in a letter: become an English preacher and spread Krishna consciousness throughout the Western world. Sannyas was for that end. Otherwise, why would his spiritual master have asked him to accept it? Abhay reasoned that his spiritual master was saying, now take sannyas and you will actually be able to accomplish this mission. Formerly, the time was not right. Abhay deliberated cautiously. By accepting sannyas, a Vaishnava dedicates his body, mind, and words totally to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, renouncing all other engagements. He was doing that already. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had offered sannyas to his leading disciples so that they could continue his mission. They hadn't done it. Preaching in the West had proved perilous, even for the Gaudiya Math's most recognized sannyasis. How could he, a mere householder, presume he could succeed where the others had failed? He was hesitant. The helpless, incapable feeling he had expressed in his Birha Astika was there. But now his spiritual master was beckoning him over all other considerations, even over natural humility. Now, although he was elderly and alone, the desire to preach, just as his spiritual master had preached him remained with him. A fierce, though sometimes quietly expressed determination. The Vedic standard and the example set by previous acharyas was that if one wanted to lead a preaching movement, sannyas was required. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had taken sannyas to facilitate his missionary work. Lord Chaitanya had taken sannyas to further the Sankirtan movement. Of course, Lord Chaitanya was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but when his young students had been disrespectful towards him, treating him as an ordinary man, he had taken sannyas. Because a sannyasi is automatically respected. Lord Chaitanya's acceptance of sannyas was a calculated tactic. As soon as he began traveling throughout India as a sannyasi, he immediately attracted thousands of followers to the Sankirtan. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Lila ki, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Gaur Premanande. So today's reading is from Srimad Bhagavatam 4:22-42. The title is Prithu Maharaj's meeting with the four Kumaras. So let's try to recite that verse. Rajo Vacha Pritho me anugraha purvam Pritho me anugraha purvam Harinar Tanu Kampina Harinar Tanu Kampina Tam Apadaitum Brahman Tam Apadaitum Brahman Bhagavan Yuyam Agata Bhagavan Yuyam Agata Rajo Uvacha Tuto me anugraha purvam Harinarthanu Kampina Tam Apadaitum Brahman Bhagavan Yuyam Agataha Rajo Vacha Ito me anugraha purvam Harinarthanu Kampina Tam Apadaitum Brahman Bhagavan Yuyam Agata Ito me anugraha purvam Harinarthanu Kampina Tam Apadaitum Brahman Bhagavan Yuyam Agata Raj Pito me anugraha purvam Arina Danu Tam Apadai Brahman Bhagavan Yuyam Agata Raja Uvacha Pito me anugraha purvam Harinartanu Samhina Tam Apadayutam Brahman Bhagavan Yuyam. Thank you. Raj Uvacha, the king said, Pitaha done, may unto me, Anugraha, causeless mercy, but Purvam, formally, Harina, by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, Artha Anukampina, compassionate for persons in distress, some that, Apadaitam, to confirm it, Brahman, O Brahmana, Bhagavan, O powerful one, Yuyam, all of you, Agataha, have arrived here. Thank you. Translation and peppered by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The king said, O Brahmana, O powerful one, formerly Lord Vishnu showed me his causeless mercy, indicating that you would come to my house. And to confirm that blessing, you have all come. Please repeat. The king said, O Brahmana, O powerful one, formerly Lord Vishnu showed me his causeless mercy, indicating that you would come to my house. And to confirm that blessing, you have all come. Peppered by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, I'll read the purport. When Lord Vishnu appeared in the great arena of sacrifice, at that time when King Prithu was performing a great sacrifice, Ashwamedha, he predicted that the Kumaras would very soon come and advise the king. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj the causeless mercy of the Lord, and thus welcomed the arrival of the four Kumaras, who were fulfilling the Lord's prediction. In other words, when the Lord makes a prediction, he fulfills that prediction through some of his devotees. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted that both his glorious names and the Hare Krishna Mahamantra would be broadcast in all the towns and villages of the world. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada desired to fulfill this great prediction, and we are following in their footsteps. Regarding his devotees, Lord Krishna told Arjuna, Kaunteya Janihi Name Bhakta Pranashya. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotees will never perish. Bhagavad Gita 9:31. The point is that the Lord himself could declare such things, but it was his desire to make the declaration through Arjuna, and thus doubly assure that his promise would never be broken. The Lord himself promises, and his confidential devotees execute the promise. The Lord makes so many promises for the benefit of the suffering humanity. Although the Lord is very compassionate upon suffering humanity, human beings are generally not very anxious to serve Him. The relationship is something like that between the Father and the Son. The Father is always anxious for the welfare of the Son, even though the Son forgets or neglects the Father. The word anukampina is significant. The Lord is so compassionate upon the living entities that He comes Himself into this world in order to benefit fallen souls. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyuthanam asya tadatmanam srijami. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I retain myself. Bhagavad Gita 0.7. Thus, it is out of compassion that the Lord appears in His different forms. Lord Shri Krishna appeared on this planet out of compassion for fallen souls. Lord Buddha appeared out of compassion for the poor animals who were being killed by the demons. Lord Nrsimhadev appeared out of compassion for Prahlad Maharaj. The conclusion is that the Lord is so compassionate upon the fallen soul within this material world that He comes Himself or sends His devotees and His servants to fulfill His desire, to have all the fallen souls come back home, back to Godhead. Thus, Lord Shri Krishna instructed Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna for the benefit of the entire human society. Intelligent man should therefore seriously consider this Krishna consciousness movement and fully utilize the instructions of Bhagavad Gita as preached without adulteration by his pure devotee. Om Jnana Timirana Jnana Shalakaya Chakra. So, just a bit of background, because we don't normally come every Saturday, and there are 5 more days when the Katha moves on, and we miss all that. So, a bit of background. The 4 Kumaras, they arrived at the assembly hall of Prithu Maharaj in the beginning of this chapter, which is Prithu Maharaj's meeting the 4 Kumaras. So when a sadhu comes to your home, how should we, welcome the sadhus is a very good example in this whole chapter. How Prithu Maharaj welcomes the 4 Kumaras, the pure devotees of the Lord. At that time in the assembly hall, the citizens were all present, and they were offering prayers to Prithu Maharaj when the arrival of the 4 Kumaras. And Prithu Maharaj is no other than Shakya Vesh avatar of Lord Shiva. So he knew how to receive the sadhus with great respect, according to the injunctions of the Shastras. He welcomed them. After bathing their lotus feet and then sprinkling water on the heads of everyone, then he gave them a golden seat, throne to sit down, because he was the king of the whole planet at that time, universe. So there was no shortage of this opulence. So he made them sit very nicely with respect and then offered prayers to the four Kumaras. And after that, he inquired, he asked questions. And this is how we should um, receive sadhus when they come to our place. Depends on what kind of sadhu comes. So just to recap some of the important parts, I will just read some of the translations. So these are some of the instructions that there was a discussion on the glories of the Lord. So one of them is spoken by the Kumaras. When a person becomes devoid of all material desires and liberated from all material qualities, he transcends distinctions between actions executed externally and internally. At that time, the difference between the soul and the super soul, which was existing before self-realization, is annihilated. When a dream is over, there is no longer a distinction between the dream and the dreamer. Upon becoming fixed in his attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by the grace of the spiritual master, and by our awakening knowledge and detachment, the living entity situated in the heart of the body and covered by five elements burns up his material surroundings exactly as fire arising from wood and burns the wood itself. These are some of the teachings. And further on, the Kumaras conversing with Prithu Maharaj in the assembly, and they said, when one's mind and senses are attracted to sense objects for enjoyment, the mind becomes agitated. As a result of continually thinking of sense object, one's real consciousness also becomes lost. Like the water in a lake that is gradually sucked up by the big grass straws on its banks. And then then further on, the Kumaras said, those who strongly desire to cross over the ocean of nescience must not associate with modes of ignorance. And then out of the four principles, namely dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, liberation has to be taken very seriously. The other three are subject to destruction by stringent law of nature, by death. So we should take liberation, the four purushar very seriously. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha, duties. Artha means economic development. Dharma, kama means fulfilling our desires. But moksha is most important. We should take it very seriously, because the rest of the three will be destroyed when we are gone forever. Your money will be left here, everything will be gone. but you work on this liberation, which is, in our sampradaya, it's bhakti yoga, then that will be eternally your credit. So this is how some of those instructions were given by the four Kumaras. Especially, I think one of them was Sanat Kumar who was speaking. Sanat Kumar was speaking. So, in the purpose, some of the very important as things were discussed by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Let me see. So I mentioned that how to receive a guest, and a guest in our culture, Atiti Deo Bhava. Treat them as like the Supreme Personality. Our guests are so important. I mean, we should show them good respect, honor them, and welcome them nicely. But if it's a devotee, then then we have to welcome them with all respect and honor. I'll give you an example. It's very, very relevant to this katha. His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj visits New coming short. He is a pure devotee of the Lord, and it's why these devotees come to the householder's home. It's the desire of the Lord. Krishna sends them. Either his devotees or, of course, Krishna comes sometime. But normally he sends his pure devotees. And why does he send pure devotees to the household like that? Obviously, to awaken our devotion to Krishna, to teach us the purpose of our life, to guide us towards devotional service. So when Maharaj comes, he doesn't stick to one place. Of course, he comes to the temple and does initiation, but he visits householders. He has been doing that for years. So when he visits the householders, the purpose is there. And we have the opportunity to serve a pure devotee. And we have been trained by our gurus how to respect and honor the pure devotees of the Lord. So first, when they enter, we do pranam, and then we bathe their lotus feet, Maharaj, and disciples even dip the water or sprinkle and on everybody's head to give them blessing. And after that, we offer nice garlands. Then Maharaj addresses, he speaks. Before that, he does a nice kirtan, lively kirtan, and then he speaks. And then, of course, we offer him a nice place to sit, and then a delicious prasadam cooked by Tilakti Mataji. Most of the time, she's there helping us, and she's the favorite cook for Maharaj. She knows how to. And Maharaj's diet is different: no oil, no sugar, no salt. So difficult. But disciples are used to it, and they know how to feel. So Maharaj is offered nice prasadam, and everyone he ensures that everyone has prasadam with him. And during that, he speaks with his nearby devotees. But after prasadam, then there's discussion and question and answer. That's the purpose. And that's the time when devotees are given the opportunity to questions about this, the Lordship, Krishna Katha, Kirtan, inquiries. So, and then Maharaj, before he leaves, then Maharaj is given some donation. He's given some donation, and that's how, you know, they are able to travel the world, traverse the world, the planet, to carry on the mission of His Divine Grace, their Guru Maharaj and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's so important for us to give some donation to sannyasis and devotees who are preaching. So this is a very good example, and we have been trained, and we should continue this legacy of receiving devotees of the Lord. Similarly, Prithu Maharaj, after doing all those welcoming, then when the four Kumaras were seated on the golden throne, then he started inquiring, asking questions. And there's very nice discussion, especially for the households. And during that conversation, there's heaps there. So Prabhupada mentions here that the Lord is so merciful, Krishna is so merciful, that he wants all of us to go back home, back to Godhead. All of the human society, the planet, should go back home, back to Godhead. And of course he has come about 5,000 years ago. Personally, he came to attract us through his beautiful pastime and his instructions in Bhagavad Gita. And then he departed the planet. But that's not the end. He has been sending his pure devotees to continue that, to continue to awaken us, the fallen souls, and remind us and teach us and guide us that this is not the real home for us. It's a place of misery, Dukhalayam Ashashvatam, and we experience that. And they awaken our, devotion to Krishna. So Krishna, and then Krishna again came not long ago, about 526 years ago, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to again remind us. But he just came as a devotee of the Lord. And he showed with his example how to approach the Lord in this Kali Yuga. And the process he gave us is Harinam, Harinam, Harinam Eva Kevalam, Hello Nastikana. Chanting Hare Krishna mantra or the Vaishnava songs, and also hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, associating with devotees, all these processes, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed us by his example. He did all those things himself and traveled throughout India to preach. So Krishna is so merciful that he comes, it's said here, he comes to deliver his devotees. Somewhere I read that he came, all right, as Lord Krishna, he came to deliver all the Brajavasis. And even Nalkuvar and Maniku, that Kaka, and so many fallen souls. And as Lord Buddha, he came because he was so compassionate about these poor animals. So he came, he appeared, and he stopped, tried his best to stop the killing of animals, animal sacrifice eaten by people, which is still happening. As Lord Nrsimhadev, he came to protect his child devotee, Prahlad Maharaj. As Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to protect and save the whole world. Jagai and Madai is there. So many fallen souls. He made wonderful his disciples like the 6 Gotpas of Vrindavan. Exalted devotees, pure devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So the Lord is so compassionate. And that was not the end. And he has been sending like Srila Prabhupada and his Guru Maharaj. So many of them have come to help us, to guide us and support us in devotional service. And Prabhupada says when Krishna makes promises, he himself comes, yada yada hi dharmasya, or he sends his pure devotees to fulfill those promises. That's how compassionate Lord Krishna is. So to conclude, I'll just say that Lord Krishna is so compassionate upon us, the fallen soul, that he comes himself, he sends his pure devotees or his servants to help us and guide us to get out of this material world and go back to our real home, back to Godhead. And that was the main conversation between Guru Maharaj and Sanat Kumar, one of the 4 Kumaras. So here we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam every day in this temple. And this is the desire of Srila Prabhupada and of course the Lord, so that we purify ourselves, we make progress in our devotional journey, and try our best to make this our last life. Okay, I'll stop there. Any comment? No, it's too cold, I think. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.